When I was homeless, I lost everything. Everybody. I lost my kids, my grandkids, some friends. I lost my car. I lost everything.
When I met Ruby, she was staying at the Larry Rice Center.
I was homeless for like 6 years before I met Catherine. She said, "Tell me about you," and tears just started rolling down my face because I was suicidal at the moment, and I felt like nobody cared, and I had been here long enough. And she said, "No, you're my angel," and I'm going, "Angel?"
So after being in Ruby's life for a couple months, she was suffering with depression and with anxiety, and living on the street is so incredibly hard. Living in a shelter is so hard. There's not much grace living on the street. There's not much compassion.
I found Catherine to be a true caring person, which I never experienced, somebody caring so much for you.
All among us, certainly at that time, did not provide housing. So I started making calls around to different people, and we found her a sober living house. Ruby by that time had been sober for a couple years.
She taught me a lot about compassion and helping people and, lifting people's spirit up.
Ruby called after about just maybe 5 months off the streets as she was going for her GED, and she said, "I'm taking 3 buses. It's 100 degrees out. I'm too old for this, and I need a car." And I said, "Ruby, we don't do cars." And I said, "If you save 1,000, I'll raise 1,000, thinking that's going to be the end of that story. And in just about 5 months, I hear from Ruby again saying that she had saved $700, that was enough for her to save, and that she wanted me then to match that. Well, I hadn't even started.
And I feel that God has me on this earth for a reason, because Catherine told me so, and I'm going, okay.
It was time for her to then have a house of her own. And so we then made that transition to Ruby having her own home.
It's a good feeling to know that people really care about you. And when I first got my place, they asked Catherine, "What do Ruby need?" And I tell you, trucks pulled up, and here come a couch, here come a deep freezer, here come a table, here come a bed, here come linens, and I'm going, they said, "You just sit down, Ruby. We got this." And I'm going, man, I never seen this in my life.
We threw a new home party, like shower for her, and Ruby had never been to a shower. So when she walked into that day, into that living room filled with women who, unbeknownst to her, had been supporting her for months, and that all these gifts were for her.
It's just so much that I have accomplished within the last 2.5 years, and I look back and say, don't complain, look where God has brought you. I was homeless. Now I have money in the bank. I have a vehicle. I have my own apartment that's furnished.
So to see how far Ruby has come in the last 2 or 3 years is really a testament to her perseverance, believing that she can, being able to accept help from people. Then watching Ruby helping other people that have come off the streets or that she's met in shelters, and to watch her stepping into their lives and sharing her hope with them has been really meaningful.
I can truly imagine women's coming out of being homeless and living on their own, because a lot of them has given up hope. And what we teach is, that you have hope, somebody do care.
I've watched Ruby go from being homeless for 6 or 7 years to being self-sufficient, working on an education when she only has a 4th grade education. She's shown me how to be so brave walking into new experiences where she feels unworthy or not smart enough, or all those ways we might doubt ourselves. And yet watching her walk into those situations with a big smile on her face and walking in and immediately start getting busy building relationships with people. And so now when I walk into a situation where I have those same feelings and can sometimes think even, who am I to be opening a women's care center? And I think of Ruby. And I think, who was Ruby to go do this or to go do that? But she did it. And she succeeded.
I have my family back, and I have a church home. I'm looking forward to be where I'm needed, and that feels good. Yeah, it really does.